All right, guys, this is Thomas Bird from Tabletop Life. I'm here today with another summary battle report. We got a big love of Ultramarines on the channel. I'm sure if you watch any of our videos, you know. But today I have a treat for you. There's no Ultramarines, so sorry. We're actually going to be playing Knights versus Deathguard. So we got some new armies in. We got some tournaments that are coming up, so always testing. So we're going to have a little bit of not fully finished painted, but we're going to have some great action today. We're going to be playing the Scouring. So this mission is always, we call this soccer goals. This is always a challenging mission. And it's a domination. So objectives really close together, and you got to hold 2 to get 5 points. So typically low scoring unless it's a runaway. So secondaries become very, very important. But Deathguard versus Knights, let's jump into the armies and see what we're playing today.
All right, guys, here it is. Price is Deathguard. We're back with another battle report. If you watch the Deathguard versus Dark Eldar, you're going to see the same list. But here we are with our battalion of Mortarion's Anvil, led by the Lord Contagion. That's the Warlord with the Mortarion's Anvil Gloaming Bloat Warlord trait. And then we've upgraded him with the Orb. And then we also got a Malignant Plaguecaster. We've given him an extra relic, so he knows a 3rd power. We're going to be taking Miasma. We're going to be taking the power that boost the Contagion range, and also +1 strength and toughness. That's all my HQs. Then we're going to have 2 units of 10 Poxwalkers. And then we're going to have 2 units of 5 Plague Marines. I've got a single Plague Flail in both squads. Moving on to the elites, we've got our Lord's Varian here. I've got 2 relics, 1 on the Tallyman for the Toll Keeper, and then the Biologus Putrifier. He has got an extra Warlord trait, so he's going to be the Arch-Contaminator. And then over here, the Foul Blightspawn is going to have the Stench-vats, so that's going to boost his ability to cancel charging. I've got 2 units of 3 Death Shroud Terminators. Both of those have been upgraded with the extra Flamer and the Chimes to boost their Contagion range. And then I've got 5 Possessed. Love these guys. Their strength, their speed, the invulnerable save. They're awesome. Rounding out the elites, and sorry for the proxies, but I've got 2 models on the paint table. They're going to be here real soon. So 2 Contemptors, and these guys both have the Volkite Culverins. And then in my fast attack, we've got a Bloat drone. This guy also has a heavy Blight launcher. And then rounding out the list, 2 heavy supports, 2 Plague Burst crawlers with entropy cannons and Rahel volley guns. So look forward to playing against the Knights. First time I've played against these guys. And Steven's a great opponent, so we'll go on to that.
Hey guys, this is Steven, and I am going to be playing Imperial Knights today. I'm going to be playing House Raven and using a bunch of the new rules from the Warzone Carcharodon. I believe I'm pronouncing that properly. We'll take a real quick look at what I've got here. So I've got 2 Knight Majeras. One of them will be my Warlord, and he is going to have Land Strider for the bonus movement, and he will have the Banner in Violet for the re-rolling in close combat. And the second big guy will be a Knight Seneschal for the extra attack. Their claw arms are much, much better at flat 3 damage than the stomps, so it's nice to have a couple extra swings. And he will have the Helm Dominus, and that is going to give him the +1 to hit. Going to get to choose a target, so should be some fun. We'll see. I haven't tried out these Warlord traits and relics yet. Then we're going to have 2 units of 2 on the Moraxes. They're going to be all lightning locks. I've had a lot of fun with those recently. You get to throw a bunch of dice. That's a real good time. And then in the back, we're going to have 1 unit of Armiger Warglaves, and those guys like to boogie, and they've got some decent firepower with the Meltas. So we're going to see what happens.
All right, we're here with the deployment of the terrain. So again, we're playing player place terrain here. The quick, we're looking at the soccer goal type deployments. So the big thing you kind of look at and see is kind of kept it open because the Knights want to move. We're going to keep this terrain open. So if Price gets stuck here or if Steven gets stuck here, his Knights have plenty of movement. But There was a gap here. Stephen was leaving his guys a path to move, and Price was able to use this piece, measuring it 3 inches across, to kind of block Stephen from moving. So now that's not necessarily the greatest avenue of approach for Stephen's Knights, but he is House Raven, so he can advance and shoot. His guys move incredibly fast, so it's not the end of the world. On this side, you just see the ruins were pushed really far back from the objectives. So if Price is on this side, Stephen's goal was to kind of keep him from just being able to walk quickly onto the objectives. Again, primary is hold 2 for 5 points. So there are going to be some big needs to get on the objectives quickly. We are using the new rules, so inexorable. Deathguard don't suffer minuses for moving through the forest or the craters. The big knights don't suffer if they're titanic. Moving through the craters is difficult terrain. So it's going to be interesting to see how that affects the movement, because there's a couple craters and stuff that may not affect anybody. Looking quickly at the secondaries, we got my little chicken scratch here. We should be upgrading this here for one of our battle reports to our digital scoreboard, but we're going to use my writing here for today. Stephen's chosen Stranglehold, so that's the new domination, so he wants to hold 3 objectives. He's chosen Grind them down, so he thinks he can kill more per turn, and Strategic Scan is the secondary for the mission, so he's got to scan every objective and hold it through the beginning of his next command phase. If he does that, he can score a scaling point, so it's pretty interesting. We don't really see that one very often. On Price's side, he's chosen Stranglehold as well, so he's going to try to get domination. So they're going to be like, hey, let's fight over the objectives. You're going to have more. He's got Spread the Sickness, so just trying to get in all the objectives. So that kind of goes well with Stranglehold if he can do it. And then Bring It Down. Stephen's list with all the knights has a total of 20 points to bring it down. So if he's killing knights, he's going to be scoring points. So that's the secondaries. We're playing the Scouring. Let's jump into the mission and see who's deploying and what that looks like. All right, guys, we're here. Stephen won the roll to pick sides, so he stayed away from that Crate of Doom there that's going to jam him up. So instead, he's all parked in here in these ruins, but he's got plenty of space to run around. We don't know who's going first yet, so we're going to roll that. So let's go to the players themselves and let them talk about why they deployed the way they did. All right, Price, tell us about Deathguard.
All right, so Stephen's got incredible movement with these knights, and he put me over here. I actually stacked this side of terrain so I could try and hold objectives behind these ruins. Unfortunately, I got some open windows here, so that's going to create some vulnerability. But basically, in case he wins the roll to go first, I hit as much as I could back here. I've got my character blob out here in the middle, just taunting him. Little does he know that I've got bodyguard rules on both sides, so there's no way he can shoot any of those guys. But I...
You think I don't know that? It hurts my feelings.
So then, I got the Poxwalkers back in reserve. So I felt like bringing those guys in later on would be better for me. So I'm just trying to hide and see what happens. If I get the roll to go first, probably do a little shuffling around, maybe spread the sickness. But I don't know how much damage I can do because he's pretty far away from me. So Stephen, tell us about where your army is.
All right, you'll see. It's hard placing the knights, right? They take up a lot of space on the table. So we've got our guy with Land Strider here. I tried to get as many folks around him as possible. So one of the secondaries that I took, the mission secondary, if I have any hope of doing that, well, I've also got to get work done. I'm going to have to jump out on the objectives on the first turn and basically throw that first turn away to score some secondary points. So we're going to move as fast as we can. We're going to get out there. I'm going to try to put one of the big knights each on 2 of those, and then we're going to see what happens. So it's going to be a lot of movement, and it's not a lot that I can shoot at on the first turn until he comes out of the booth. The worst thing for me would be if I have to go second. So if I go second, then now I have to kill his stuff, and I don't get to play for the secondaries, and it's going to hurt. So we're going to hope that I go first.
All right, we're going to go for roll for the first turn. Let's see who does it.
Oh my God!
A 1 versus a 1.
That's a great start to this game.
The funny part is neither.
Oh,
all right. That's what I wanted.
The knight player gets what he wants. He's going first.
That's what I wanted. We'll see if I was right.
We'll see you after the first movement phase. We are here at the end of the knight's top of turn 1. He's done his movement. On strategic scan, it says any unit can do it on a different objective, and you can scan multiple objectives at once. He's got to live to the beginning of his command phase to score it, so we shall see. But right now, he didn't have a lot to shoot. So this knight, the big boy, did the action here. This knight did the action there, and then this knight did the action here. So he's got 3. That's a lot of secondaries that he potentially could pick up. This is a knight only knight that could really see. He was able to see down this alley and just be able to see a Contemptor Dreadnought. You can see there's no Contemptor Dreadnought there. He did spend 3 CP to reroll 1s with the House Raven strat, reroll 1s to hit and wound, and it was just enough to pick up that knight. So
Price underperformed a little bit on the saves, unfortunately.
The Contemptor, he did one more save. He did 6 wounds, 3 damage, a -1 damage, so he only made 1 save. Dreadnought down, did not explode. But that's the end of turn 1 for the Knights. Let's go to bottom of turn 1 for Deathguard. They're going to come out of the booth, see what they're going to do. Can they kill some Knights? All right, we're here at the end of Price's movement phase on turn 1. So a lot of mortal wounds, and he actually did his psychic phase as well. So let's go through it. So he moved these Plague Marines onto this objective. He had to be within 1 inch of the wall to actually make it to the objective, so that might be risky with this big knight here. But he's on it. He did spread the sickness, and of course he suffered 3 mortal wounds, so lost the Plague Marine and then another. He went to cast powers. He freaking cast -1 to hit on this guy, but then he had to spend a CP on the reroll to get it. Over here he perils with his sorcerer and took 2 wounds and didn't get the +1 toughness and strength off. So hurt, and the Tallyman re-rolling for both his command phase and Stevens did not get a 7, so he did not get an extra command point this turn. Those Deathguard didn't get command points. Pretty big. So not the greatest start for the Deathguard, but we're about to go into shooting. Price, you want to talk about shooting, or are we going to just jump into it?
So for shooting, basically, I moved this guy up. I'm going to target this little dude out here on the corner. It's really kind of the only thing I can see with him. I didn't quite have enough movement to get him out so I could see one of the other knights that both of the Plague Burst Crawlers can see. So I'm going to tag him, give me reroll 1s to wound against him with this guy and the Contemptor Dreadnought. So I'm going to try and pick this dude up, and then if I can get lucky, maybe pick up 1 more of the baby knights with the mortars or something. Maybe one of these guys out in the open. I need to try to get, I'm just trying to whittle him down. So we'll see what happens.
All right, we're here at the end of turn 1. Price's Deathguard have shot, and as he's pointed out, the target of his wrath has died pretty easily, actually. He was like, oh, that was kind of anticlimactic. So he had a lot more guns to pop off and shoot. He was trying to decide if he went for the guy with the action or the guy that was not -1 to hit. This guy's in the forest. So he ended up shooting at the guy that was easier to hit. Steven went ahead and rotated Iron Shields on him, and he survived with 4 wounds. He also spent 3 CP, his once per game ability, to give 4 ups for both him and 2 baby knights within 3 inches. So he did do that kind of to deter him from shooting at the big knight. It worked. He shot at little knights instead. But since Steven only killed 1 thing during his turn, by killing this 1 knight, he did stop Steven from picking up grinds. So looking at the secondaries, at the end of turn 1, the scoring, Steven did pick up Strangleholds. He's on 3 objectives. He did not get grind since Price killed 1 thing. He did scan a lot of things, so he'll pick up points at the beginning of turn 2. Price did not get out onto the 3rd objective, so no strangle for him. He did spread the sickness, even though it cost him a Plague Marine, and he did kill 1 baby knight for 2 points. So going into turn 2, we'll be back after the knight's movement. All right, we're at turn 2, end of the knight movement phase. He was kind of trying to decide whether he wanted to move in an assault or if he's going to hang back and shoot. And he had a couple of different abilities. So, Steven, why don't you tell me a little bit about what your thought process here was?
So we, I decided that I did not want to press up. I may pay for that here in a little bit, but you know, while I'm sitting on 3 and he's sitting on 2, we're gonna let that go. So I'm gonna try to get rid of some of the close combat threats. He's got the Death Shrouds here. He's got Death Shrouds on the other side of the wall. I have a line on the Volkite Contemptor Dread, and so we pulled back a little bit. We're gonna hold the objectives. We're gonna try to do some work, and then maybe come out of the box on turn 3 and cover some distance. So I have all the movement I need to get downrange. But right now, we need to get rid of some of the really nasty guys, which are going to be the Death Shrouds. And then I think I can press in and I can weather some of his characters, which will be nasty, but I think we can make it happen.
All right, and you had an ability here that you popped up?
So right here, the Helm Dominus allows me to nominate a unit within 24 inches, and anybody within 6 inches of me right here is going to get +1 to shoot at those guys. They have Miasma Pestilence, so they're -1. So it's just going to wash, but it's going to bring it in and make it a little easier for us to get this done.
All right, so he's going to shoot. We'll be back and see what happens. All right, end of the shooting. The dust has settled. These 3 Death Shroud are no more. They got shot by quite a bit. They failed a multi-melt to hit and just lost 1 right out of the bait. And then this guy picked up 2 with his good shooting. On the other end, this big guy decided to spend 4 CP, 3 for the Raven strat to reroll 1s for hits and wounds, and 1 to increase the strength of his guns by +1, so he could wound the Volkite Dread on 3s. Flub rolling, he only did 2 hits that went through, so 4 damage with the reduction. Nah, that guy's still alive. And that's a lot of CP spent for not a lot of action. These 2 guys plinked away at the Death Shrouds that are down in the windows. He was able to punch through a 3-up save with the cover, and he killed 1 of the 3 Death Shrouds, so those guys are wounded. But that's it. At the end of the turn, let's take a look at his quick turn at his scoring. He picked up a mighty 15 on the primary, and he also picked up 10 on strategic scan. He only has to scan 1 more objective to get the max. On Price's turn, he finally picks up the Tallyman's command point, but he's only on 2 objectives, so he's only going to get 5 points for primary. There's a whole 2 to get 5, so rough. It's going to look bad. He really can't come out to get these secondaries without getting shot by all the knights. We'll come back and see what the Death Guard have the answer. All right, we're here on top of turn 2. This is bottom of turn 2? Bottom of turn 2. Death Guard went second. So we've just finished the movement. Everyone's coming out of the booth. You can see Poxwalkers came out of reserve. This objective is really close to the edge, so he's able to come out of reserve onto the point. He did spread the sickness there. He only lost 1 Pox. Apparently they're not Plague Marines. They're not as scared of the sickness. We do have a second unit of Poxwalkers. He didn't want to commit them this turn, but he kind of felt like he needed to get some work done, and so he's going to try to make this 9-inch charge onto these baby knights, and then hopefully wrap and steal that objective from him. So if he can hit that 9-inch charge, good things will happen. That'll limit his primary. He also wants to try to take out this knight, and he flew that drone up. It ran. So he's contesting that, so he's going to stop the primary already. But if he kills this knight, that will also stop grind, and then just kill him, baby knight. I give him more points. He cast some powers here with his caster. Even though he has 2 wounds, we're really looking at every single roll, waiting for him to perils. He failed his first power. He had to re-roll it, but he got Miasma off on the Death Shroud. He's within 12 inches of that knight, so he took a mortal wound, and then he cast Smite, did a mortal wound from the successful cast, and then did a couple more wounds. So put some wounds on that baby knight. We're now ready to start shooting. We'll be back and see if he can pick up that knight. All right, we've done the shooting. We'll come back to the recap, but we wanted to capture the action right here. He needs a 9. This is the roll. Do the Poxwalkers make it in?
Dragons attack.
Don't do it, don't do it, don't do it.
Ooh.
A 7.
We are spending it.
He's
spending it. Here
this
we go.
Is all or nothing right here.
He's got to hit that.
9. No. I can't see that.
An 8.
8. Oh, it's no good. These aren't orcs. They're not making it. So the Poxwalkers are doomed to die a lonely death.
I will contemptuously ignore that. Let's try again.
All right, so let's just recap the score and the end of the shooting. So he did pop a lot of shots here, but he was not able to kill it. The last Plague Burst Crawler diverted to this guy. He didn't want to suffer the -1 from the Force that the center guy was in, and he was able to pop Disgusting Force and do some mortal wounds, and then actually kill it that way. He didn't do mortal wounds to it, but he did shoot it and kill it there. This Contemptor over here popped a lot of 6s and forced him to take 7 saves with 5 6s that were mortal wounds. Steven passed 6 out of the 7, 3 ups.
6 out of the 7.
They're pretty good. But he took a bunch of mortal wounds, so he's down to 5 on that baby knight. That did force him down. Let's take a look at the score real quick. So top of the turn, Price picked up 5 points on the primary. Steven went ahead and got Stranglehold during his turn, but since Price killed one more baby knight, he stopped him from getting grind. But Steven, as we saw, picked up 10 points on Strategic Reserve. Since that middle knight lived, Price was denied Stranglehold, and he did not make that charge of the Poxwalkers. That was his other backup plan. Didn't make it. He did spread another sickness, so he picked up 3, and he killed one baby knight for 2. So that's the end of turn 2. Let's go to turn 3 and see what the knights do next. All right, we're here on the top of turn 3. The knights have moved up. See, this baby knight that was hurt has run around the corner. We see the big knight here has moved up. We've left the one knight here. The wounded knight on the center is going to try to deal with that drone. And it looks like we got a couple guys positioning to go do some work. So, Steven, Knight Guy, tell us what your plan here is.
So we're going to try really hard to reclaim the center using only one of the baby knights. It's not a great plan, but it's what I feel like we have to work with right now. And over here, we're going to what will hopefully be easily kill a bunch of Plague Marines, and then we'll charge into the pocket. And that should secure this side of the table, and I'm going to feel much better about this game at that point in time. We've got some Poxwalkers over here that failed their charge. I'm going to casually kill them. I don't even care about those guys. And over here, I still have the problem with the 2 Death Shrouds. And most of this shooting phase will be dictated by how long it takes me to get through those guys, because they have got to go. So we'll see what happens.
All right, team, here we are at the end of the night turn 3. We've shot and then we've charged. A lot of carnage has happened. Let's walk it through. So we ended up having to not shoot at these guys. Most of the guns were needed elsewhere, so these Poxwalkers get a respite, but they're so far back they're not going to be able to do anything. We got the Death Shroud Terminators, the Possessed, got shot to death. Took a lot of multi-weapons to finally finish those guys off. This knight charged in, killed the wounded sorcerer, killed a couple Plague Marines, killed those, or did some wounds to that foul Blightspawn. Here we go. Let's get this camera here. Plague Marines are wounded, so they're in combat. He did have to fight last with the foul Blightspawn there. Price spent all of his CP trying to buff up those Plague Marines to do some wounds. He did 7 wounds to the knight, but not enough to matter. He ended up going ham and killing a bunch of stuff. Over here, this knight, Steven just left it to chance that he was going to do some work in combat. Didn't shoot at it because he needed all his guns elsewhere. Didn't kill it. Guy's still on the objective. He did do some wounds. This guy's down to 5 wounds left. His knight is at 8 wounds, so they're just kind of having a slap fest here. This knight killed all the Plague Marines that were here and then wanted to charge in. Rolled a 3 first charge, failed the charge. No CP left to re-roll it, so he's left out in the cold. But the damage was done. He killed 5 things this turn. Can Price stop grind? Unlikely. He's going to kill 5 knights. So let's go to the bottom of turn 3 and see what Deathguard. All right, we're here at bottom of turn 4. Price has done his movement. He's got some indecision. He wants to throw it out to the crowd. Put it in the comments. Do you think Price should shoot his Plague Burst crawlers at one of the big knights and start softening them up? Steven's knights, he has no command point, so he can't rotate. This is his turn. He could potentially do some damage. Or does he just go for bring it down and just try to get a couple of points killing some little knights? So that's his choice. Where the Plague Burst crawlers shoot, that's really his only shooting left at this point. So just talk about the movement real quickly. These guys moved up. Their intention is to try to charge this guy. He is in a force. It's going to be a long charge. He does have a CP reroll. The Plague Marines fell out of combat with that knight. As did this this guy. Did he get healed? Or is this his wounds?
That's his wounds.
He's still hurt, but he backed out of combat. Over here, these Poxwalkers made a run for it and just got their toe on the objective, so they're going to steal that point away. So no primaries. And then both Plague Burst crawlers on both sides, since this wall here is unstable, the knight can't stop his movement on it. He's backed up just enough so he cannot physically move over it and charge him, and can't charge him through the wall. So trying to deny him charges. So he's kind of be immune to the big knight, at least from a combat. But we're really on the shooting. So let us know in the comments what you think. We're going to come back and see what Price decides and see what, if anything, gets destroyed. We'll be back. All right, I hope you put something juicy in the comments because it's going to be great to recap what just happened. So if you chose Little Baby Knights, the sure thing, well, you picked wrong. He went for the big knight. That was wounded. He's going to shoot at the wounded guy. Look how many wounds he has. He has, what is that, 12 plus 3? He had 15 wounds. So let me tell you how many he had before we started this shooting phase.
He had 17
wounds. So he did 2 wounds with all his shootings. So many 2s came out on the wounds, on the hits. He wouldn't even have killed the baby knight. So all that shooting for naught. It wouldn't have even mattered.
This guy, he went ham.
He did go ham. He shot into combat. He didn't suffer the minus. He did 6 wounds to that 8 wound knight, so he's down to 2 wounds, still alive. But now we are on to the charge phase. We're going to see. What do you need on the dice?
I need an 8.
An 8.
And I've got the command point standing by right now.
Oh, that's right. Inexorable. They don't suffer the minus for the crater, so they just need 8 with
Here we go. Here we go.
Oh, he got the 8.
Oh, yeah.
He made it. So they're coming in, still in the point. No primary points for Steven. And he's going to type that dreadnought so he can't shoot, or that knight so he can't shoot somewhere else. So we'll come back when its turn is over, and we'll give you the score recap. But let's do this combat. All right, only thing of note here at the end of turn 3 combat was the Lord of Contagion came in and fought that knight that had 2 wounds left. He was able to kill him. He did not explode, so those guys survived. That foul Blightspawn there was sweating at he with his 2 wounds. Over here, the Poxwalkers flub did nothing. They did their job. They lost 1 guy with stomping feet in return. That's the end of it. We'll go down to the score and see what we're looking at. So Price picked up 5 on his primary. Steven picked up 5 on his primary. So low scoring, as you expect. Did not have Stranglehold for the Knights, but he did finally pick up Grind with 5-1 on the kill count. No more strategic scans. Unlikely he'll get any more, but he'll keep trying. Price, now holding actually all of the objectives, is going to pick up Stranglehold this turn. Lost no more Spread the Sickness. But he did kill 1 more baby knight, so he's got 1 more bring it down. So that's the score as we go into turn 4. Knights respond. All right, we're here at the end of the movement and shooting phase for the knights. We're about to go into the charge phase. So big knight here took some shots at the big guy. He's still alive. You don't see him inside there. There was a Arch-Contaminator. What kind of character is that? Biologus Putrifier?
Yeah.
He got flamed and shot with the plasma. He died casually. The Pox that ran up on that objective that got shot down. Over here, he shot into combat. Didn't really do much.
Killed 3 guys.
He's bringing a guy up here to help charge, and he also is bringing this big knight to help bail him out because he wants his objective. He pinked away a few wounds. And that's it. So we're going into the charge phase. We will be back. All right, we're finishing up the end of Imperial Knight's turn. 6 things that got killed that turn. So big turn for killing. He was able to charge and kill the Chaos Lord in combat. He killed the Biologus Putrifier from shooting. He killed these Plague Poxwalkers. He killed these Poxwalkers in combat. He killed the Plague Marines here, and he killed the drone and the other character that was here from shooting. So end of the turn, that is it. So we're gonna go to, all right, we're here at the end of the turn 4. Deathguard have shot. They elected to go all in on the big knight here. They had 1 CP. He popped Disgusting Force on one of the Plague Burst Crawlers. He did roll 6 shots with that shot, and he picked up 6 wounds off of that. But every entropy cannon, if it could miss, it would. If it could not wound, it didn't. Those things just whiff city. He did end up taking off 9 wounds. All said and done with both Plague Burst Crawlers, full power shooting at this knight. He was in Plague Contagion range, so he's a little bit less toughness, so was able to wound a little bit better, but it didn't even matter. The knight's sitting on 12. He doesn't care. That's going to leave Steven sitting pretty going into the final turn of scoring. So let's look at it. In the 4, Steven's going to pick up Stranglehold during his turn. He killed a lot of things. Price didn't kill any, so he's going to pick up Grind It Down. He hasn't scanned anything left, so he's got 1 more turn for that. And then we're on Price's turn. He did not Stranglehold. He did not spread any sickness, and he didn't kill a knight, so no bring it downs. But he did pick up 5 on the primary. Steven's on 0. But now we're going to turn 5. Steven's going to pick up 15, and we're going to see if he can do anything else. Last turn. All right, end of the Knight's last turn of shooting. He could not freaking roll a 5 to save his life. So many lightning lock shots. We're talking 48 plus shots, and he probably averaged about 2 or 3 wounds per night. It was terrible. So he did get that Plague Burst Crawler down to 4 wounds, but no dice. That's going to cost him, grind him down, because he doesn't get to kill anything unless Price just like charges him or something crazy. Or he explodes and dies. That's the only thing that could probably do it. But that is it. We will go into the Plague Burst Crawler Deathguard turn. See what they can do on the last turn 5, and then we'll score it up. All right, guys, the end of the turn. Plague Burst Crawlers do what Plague Burst Crawlers have been doing this entire game, flubbing and missing every single hit. We've already pulled them off the table, but we've done the final calculations. He did not even get a single wound on the Knight, spending all his power. It didn't work. He just rolled so many 1s and 2s. It was terrible. So let's do the final recap. At the end of the game, Steven did pick up 15 in his primary to give him a total of 35. Price was only left with 1 objective. He couldn't kill that Knight to free up the second one, so he doesn't get any primary. So he'll finish up with 15. Going down the line on the secondaries, Steven's going to end up with 12 on Stranglehold, getting it 4 turns. 2 turns of grind where he got really big kills, but he couldn't really stretch it out into any more turns. He did not kill anything on his last turn, so no kills at all. And then he got the big turn on the very first turn. He got 10 points where he got all 3 objectives. That was big for the Knights going first. We knew that if he didn't go first, that it might have been a little bit tricky, but he did. Strategic scan paid off. So his total score is 35-28. That gives him 63. We don't add the 10 points around here for paint. We do that differently, so we're not really counting that. 63 points. On the Deathguard side, Domination, the old Domination Stranglehold. He was never able to really come out of the booth except for 1 turn. He only picked it up once, 3 points. He only spread the sickness in his 2 back objectives, so that's 6 points as well. And then he only killed 3 baby Knights, 6 points. A total of 15 on the secondaries, 15 on the primaries for a total of 30 points. 63-30. Knights. Someone said Knights were bad. They just beat up on some Deathguard. I think this mission was really hurting the Deathguard because they had to force themselves to come out of the booth right into all the guns. That hurt with all the 3 damage big guns on the big Knights. So tough game, tough loss for the Deathguard, but fun times here. Knights doing work. It's always good to see Knights do something. So that's it for this battle report. Hope you enjoyed it. If you like this, share with your friends. If you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. Until next time, keep rolling those 6s, and we'll see you.